Hi everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. How are we all today? Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. I wanted to take a look at the situation with Russia today, and if we've got time we'll move on to the January 6th committee and the reports that Trump's personal lawyer and ex-mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, is in negotiations about whether he should or how he should speak with the January 6th committee. We'll see if the question is, will he flip? We'll see what's going to occur there if we've got time. Now, you will have, it's quite surreal in a way what is going on at the border of Ukraine and Russia, with Putin now amassing about 130,000 troops on that border, east, west, really setting things up, missiles, equipment, tanks, which looks like an invasion. If you look at my past readings, I've said that he is playing Russian roulette, that he is after resources. He is also after some kind of barrier against Europe and not wanting Ukraine to join NATO. So he is wanting to secure his borders, or that's how it's coming across. But he is looking for these resources, and he is looking for a commitment. The question is, what does he do if he doesn't get it? Well, previous readings have shown there could be incursions into strategic areas of Ukraine. So rather than a full-scale invasion, some kind of taking of territory. That he could say enough people want to rejoin Russia. Well, that's not entirely true, is it? Because the majority of Ukrainians do not want to rejoin Russia. The separatists on the border in some areas, which are funded and aided by Russia, are at continual war with the Ukrainians. So it is entirely possible that he will advance. There will be some sort of incursion. But I hadn't seen up until this point a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. So we'll take a look at that again today. Also, thank you for your comments and support of my channel and donations that you've sent through. Now, if we look at the astrology is a little bit concerning. The moon is moving from Cancer tomorrow, from Cancer, wherever you are in the world when you're watching this. I use an Australian astrology diary. The moon is moving from Cancer, the feelings, into Leo, which is outward expression. Leo ruling the 5th house of the zodiac, which is it is self-expression. Now, I haven't looked at Putin's chart this morning, but some of the planetary placements, by the time we get to Wednesday, which is when the US is saying that he could invade at any time, but they have intelligence which says or indicates he might invade on Wednesday. At the moment, we've got Mars conjunct Venus. That is extremely intense. Venus being the self, the relationships with others and with the self, and also our deeply held values as well, our internal self as much as our external. And of course, Mars is the planet of aggression. So this indicates quite an intense atmosphere this week. We have, at the moment, we have the moon, or here in Australia today, you're about 15 hours behind, depending on where you live in the US. So you have to look at your own time zones. But we have the moon opposing Pluto. Well, the moon's all about emotions, that deep dive. It's like our emotional selves. And Pluto, of course, is something coming from the surface. As we know, the god of the underworld, Hades, took Persephone and took her back to the underworld, a captive kind of situation. So, yeah, with that Venus conjunct Mars, I mean, and the moon in Leo, some sort of outwardly expression of his deepest held values. And of course, he believes that Ukraine is part of Russia. So I think step one is he's looking for that commitment. Step two, if he doesn't get it, do we imagine him backing down? I have pulled out the Lenormand as well. But what we'll do is we'll start with the tarot, and then we can always pull the Lenormand over it. Cards that I have pulled just before the reading on this subject indicate it is a worrying time. He is looking for a buffer between Russia and the West. He does not want Ukraine to join NATO because he does genuinely feel that would be a threat to Russia. Why? Because Putin's a dictator, and Russia has he doesn't want Western influence. He doesn't want people protesting in the streets about democracy or freedoms. So he does want protection from what he would see as an encroaching West. Those resources are uppermost in his mind, and he wants a commitment. He wants a commitment, a contract from the West to say that Ukraine will never join NATO. All right, so let's see, will Putin invade in any way? Will Putin move his troops into any part of Ukrainian territory? Will Putin move his troops in any way? Okay, so he's pretty serious about this. I'm just seeing the military meeting over plans. It's clandestine, obviously, because they're doing so by torchlight. Could even signify some kind of night action. So rather than going in the day, to go in the night. Let's see what else is there. Will Putin invade Ukraine or move his troops in any way into Ukraine? So we have the Two of Cups, relationships, commitment again, contracts with somebody. That's Venus and Cancer. Does he feel this is a contract with the Russian people? He is crossed by the Six of... Okay, so he feels that he is justified, given that Ukraine was part of Russia before the collapse of the Soviet Union. It's like the past is dictating his actions. That's at that Venus level where he would believe that he has every right to go in there. Now, the Five of Swords is the foundation of the reading. Again, Venus energy, Venus and Mars. It's a worrying combination. The Five of Swords here, which is abuse of power. It is taking something by force. That's at the foundation of the reading. The Queen of Swords in the past. This is planning something out. Being very cold about what your plans are. This has been in the works for some time. Perhaps he tried doing it through the ex-president, and now he's got this really highly focused strategy and plan. That's in the past. So this has been with him. Remember, the Venus, the self, the values, the inner as well as the outer, relationships with others. What you value, what your community around you, serving that. He honestly does believe Ukraine should be back in the Soviet Union. Now we have the tower in the sky. So now it's a little bit more concerning than my previous reading. I don't think that those cards emerged before. Now this is what worries me with the Venus conjunct Mars. We've got an abuse taken by force. Now the tower is in the sky, which means it is not, it's a potential. It's a potential. We haven't got to the outcome yet. Now we have the Eight of Cups, loss in the immediate future and turning away. Does that mean a retreat? Or does that mean there will be loss? Because if he does do that, Ukraine will fight back. No doubt there will be loss of life. That is Saturn and Piscean energy. Can he see what the loss will be? Can any of us see? We're getting quite complacent, aren't we, about the threat of war in Eastern Europe. The King of Swords in the here and now, the plan, the strategy. So the strategy has firmed up in the last few weeks. Is that because he didn't get what he wanted from Biden, the King of Cups? So here we have the King of Swords, and the environment around is the King of Cups. Now, in my last reading, I said something Biden does stops him in his tracks. What is that? Now, we have the Four of Wands in the hopes and fears, reunification again, and that's Venus in Mars energy, reunification, coming back together, community, reuniting. That's what he hopes to achieve here. Now we have the King of Pentacles as the outcome, and we come down to the resources that Ukraine has, that he wants, the King of Pentacles. And we've got boundaries here, the Moon and Sagittarius energy. The Nine of Wands, borders, boundaries. What is this King of Coins? And we have the Sun here, which is somehow I think he is I still hold that he is thwarted in some way from a full-scale invasion. Now we have the Moon here, which is, this high emotions. And of course the Moon, as on Wednesday or in the lead up to the week at the moment, today is in Australia here, the Moon is opposing Pluto. So it's like these things, again, this clandestine nature. He's denying he will invade. The US is saying he will. It's become a little bit, we're switching off a bit. It's a bit surreal. But is that part of his strategy as well? I'm going to pull on that King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles and the boundaries and the Sun suggest there will be some kind of, is that because of something that Biden does, some kind of boundary put there? He wants the boundary. The boundaries move. King of Pentacles, please. What does this mean? I mean, I've got two yes cards and a kind of a maybe card, and the Tower. Seven of Swords, deceit, taking something that you're not entitled to, and the Queen of Swords. So he's always looked at every opportunity to undermine Ukraine. That goes back way beyond what we're seeing now. Will Putin invade? See, the other aspect of this, the King of Pentacles, is trying to, again, Death card. It's trying to take the heat off what's going on in America with January the 6th. The Two of Rods, patience, perhaps something happening in time. We have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, Knight of Swords and death. 2 weeks, 2 days. Ten of Pentacles again, the focus on the resources. Okay, show me this King of Pentacles, please. Oh, the King of Rods, along with the Knight of Swords. I think he will. Will Putin invade? Show me this King of Pentacles. Well, again, I'm getting mixed stuff here. So we've got the ten of Rods, so, and the Eight of Rods. Yeah, something moving very quickly. And the Seven of Pentacles, going back to the drawing board. It's not a fait accompli that he will. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing also that, okay, so that's come out reverse, the Two of Rods. So the Lenormand indicate, why don't I just pull a Lenormand, the Knight of Pentacles here, indicated that things will change very quickly, which would be indicated in this card. The Death card, the Knight of Swords. I think the wait is just about over if he's going to invade, which I think it's still a potential. I'm not sure that even the final decision is, he's still waiting for something from the West, something from Biden. Will Putin invade? So we have the gift, the bouquet there. We have the signifier. He's still waiting, and the crossroads. Yeah, I can't get. So it's not. I don't think the final decision hasn't been made. But we have the ship, which is movement. So I'm going to say again, I think he's waiting off. He's holding off on a full-scale invasion, but he is. I think he will push forward into some territory, some Ukrainian territory, that he will argue his way that this was, this was what the people wanted. So the potential here is still for a full-scale invasion, but I think he's waiting. You saw the cards. He's waiting at this time for some kind of concession, something from the West, something that Biden might do. But I do feel that he will send some troops into Ukraine. And the astrology would say that it could be this week. Okay, that's where I'm going to come up. Let's move to Giuliani. That's very... When you play Russian roulette, you're waiting for that win. It's a dangerous game because if you don't get the win, of course, at any time the change can occur. And the bullet comes out of the gun and away we go. So, yeah, I'm kind of seeing that things will change quite quickly, take us by surprise, and yes, there could be some troops that go in, although I'm still not seeing a full-scale invasion. He's waiting for something from the West. Okay, now, and he's prepared to go all the way as well in terms of that Russian roulette scenario. Okay, if he's going to invade, it will be this week in some way. If he's going to send forces in, it will most likely be this week, and it'll be quick, and it'll take us by surprise. It'll shock us. Okay, so let's have a look at Giuliani. Now, I should say so far financial sanctions are being mooted. They don't appear that they will go in, NATO troops, and fight Russian troops, but they will bring these sanctions forward. So we might just take a bit of territory, not all. All right, so let's go to Rudy Giuliani. Is he thinking? He's in a mindful of trouble, Giuliani. Wanting to seize, having conversations about seizing voting machines. He's already got a Southern District of New York investigation over acting as a foreign agent. I mean, he is in a world of trouble. Okay, Giuliani, and Trump sort of cut him loose. Will he flip on Trump? Will Giuliani flip on Trump? The door is open to it. So that's what I'm seeing. So we've got the Seven of Wands having to defend himself. Mars in Leo. So we might get more than one bombshell this week. Challenged by walking a tightrope. He's in a very precarious position legally, and he knows it. The Six of Coins, the moon in Taurus, the Six of Coins, giving and receiving help, loans and debts, money, Now, this Southern District of New York issue as well, I go to helping. Who did he help? The scales of justice are being held here, so somebody might be, January 6th might be holding out an offer to him. That could be what the negotiations are about. Okay, so we have the Queen of Coins in the past. Now that's stability. It's also funding, around funding. So it could be what he might flip on is funding of January the 6th. So now we've got the moon card. Things coming to the surface. That's what's crowning this reading. In the immediate future, we have the King of Cups. Of course, he was in Ukraine as well, trying to gin up the lies about Biden. Wow. Okay. So we have the Nine of Swords. He really knows that he's in, as I said, a wealth of trouble. The Two of Cups is the atmosphere around. He is trying to make a deal. Now, the deal wouldn't necessarily just be with January 6th, would it? It would be with prosecutors. Now, the Wheel of Fortune, in the hopes and fears, his luck changing, wanting his luck to change. And we've got the Justice, the Libra card, Moon in Libra here. He has to make a decision here. It's a crossroads for him. We've got the Palace of Swords. So communications, he has to make a decision about talking. I think this is about foreign influence. The Sun in Aries. Which decision will he make? The Page of Wands. I think he's going to give up some information. The Ace of Wands, absolutely, and the Victory card. I think he will eventually talk. He knows he's in a lot of trouble. Let's have a look. The Palace of Swords is all about communication, and we've got the Temperance card here, moderation. Healing, moderation. Show me this Two of Swords. I would not like to be in his shoes at the moment. He's still deciding. And we've got the Lovers flipping on Trump. And the Nine of Coins. And the Four of Wands. Because Trump didn't pay him. It comes down to that. He's really dirty about that. We have the King of Wands, the lawmakers, the courts, and the world endings and beginnings, signifying that the relationship between Giuliani and Trump has ended. Giuliani is dirty, that he wasn't paid and that he was set up. So we've got a Michael Cohen kind of scenario. He is still deciding. He hasn't made a decision yet. But I think from those cards, it looks like he will. So what's he going? What information? One more question. What information is he going to give up on Trump? What information would he give up on Trump? So we have the Palace of Wands. These cards have 4 extra cards. So that's the planning. He'll give information up on the planning. And it's the Strength card. So he would have access to a lot of the plans. And we've got Justice, yeah. So what's he going to give up? He's going to give up information on Trump participating in the planning. Okay, and he's really dirty about not being paid by Trump and being left in this wealth of legal trouble. We have the Magician, manifestation, manipulation, and we've got loss here. And the Page of Cups. He's got a lot. If he sings the Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, he will give them everything. He will give them funding. He will give them planning. At this stage, he's talking to them about who was involved in the planning of the attempted coup. But he hasn't made a firm decision just yet. But I do see that it's highly likely he will flip on Trump. And most of all because he wasn't paid. All right, so that's my reading for today. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to try and get out on the road this week, and we'll do another tarot on the road. But of course, if things take a turn for the worst on the Ukrainian border, then of course we will be looking at that in more detail. But let's just see how the week pans out. Things will change, I think, quite quickly, and there's plenty of reason to anticipate trouble, is my feeling on this. Particularly with that tower up there crowding the reading, and that Five of Swords as the foundation of the reading. That is that's Venus in Mars energy just right there. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and bye for now.